SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
William Carey University Athletics.
Every sport you find exciting.
Crusader Talk.
Crusader Talk. And now,
This is Crusader Talk. Crusader Talk. We're covering everything William Carey University Athletics. From the field to the court and the diamond on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
And welcome, everyone, to Crusader Talk. Glad you're with us on this Monday evening, wherever you may be listening to us on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 or streaming online at SuperTalkHattiesburg.com or on your podcasting app platform of choice. My name's Caleb Hamill, joined by Josh West. Dalton Stanford's behind the board, making all this happen for us this evening. We got a lot to get to today, obviously, as we've had this problem for the last couple of weeks, and now especially now that all seasons of spring and winter are crossing over with one another, we have full action to break down and get to for you today. But Josh, to start us off in our programming this evening, it's a guy who's not in season right now, but it is somebody who is certainly newsworthy for us all, and that is the person we've been waiting for a little while now, since the vacated position of head coach for women's soccer was made available. Jack Hartley is now the man that is going to fill those shoes and help continue the winning ways of William Carey University. He's joining us on the phone right now. Coach Hartley, first of all, congratulations on your new position and welcome to the William Carey family.
Thank you so much. Super excited and, just ready to get going.
Absolutely. Well, we know your most recent stop at Southeastern Louisiana as an assistant coach down there in Hammond, but walk us through a little bit of how you got to where you are coaching-wise here stateside.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been about a 15-year journey, I would say now, which is scary to think. But, yeah, started out playing a small NAIA school up in North Dakota, and then from there, got into college coaching, was a graduate assistant at the school that I'd graduated from, and that's where I first got into women's soccer at the collegiate level. And then was kind of coaching clubs in the area, in the town where the college was, in Jamestown, North Dakota, and also kind of going to a slightly larger club in Fargo as well. And once I kind of finished my graduate degree, and my wife and I were kind of on the lookout for full-time coaching, I was able to get the head coaching position at William Penn University, which is also another private NAIA institution, and that was through COVID. So that was a tough time, a tough thing to navigate through, but we made it work. And after that, I was able to secure a head coaching position in Phoenix, Arizona, at Park University in Gilbert. Very new program. It was a cool project, and was kind of brought in to get that going. But then, obviously, the opportunity to dabble in the Division I world kind of came around, and really wanted to kind of challenge myself there. And so, headed down to Hammond at Southeastern Louisiana, helped out with the South Region Olympic Development Program while I've been down here, and here we are at William Carey.
So tell us a little bit about how you came to know about this position, what the process was like meeting with Tracy English, the athletics director, and just what stood out to you. Obviously, a program that's had much success. I know it speaks for itself, but how did this part of the journey come to be?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the program has always been so well known. I played NAIA, I've coached NAIA for a while, and the name is always, one that you were chasing after, and one that you were, trying to model yourself on. And so being in the region, I think that's helped, being made aware of the position, and knowing the previous coaches a little as well, Coach Owens and Coach Weir and Sean Hunter, who's currently still on staff. When Coach Owens did move on, I think it kind of rippled through the South a little bit, and so once we caught wind of it, it was immediately reaching out to Tracy English to inquire about the position. And the moment I got in touch with with Tracy and everyone on campus, I felt at home. Felt like my playing days, my NAIA coaching days, and felt like a real, true, authentic college athletic experience. Obviously, in the world of NCAA, it's changing, ever changing, and I know things are at the NAIA level, perhaps not in the same ways that it is at the NCAA level. And so, it was a breath of fresh air to come back and really be a part of something that felt like, college athletics was supposed to be. And I've not looked back since.
Jack, this is Josh West. Looking forward to getting to work with you very soon and getting to meet you in person. And, when I think about this opportunity for you, I'm sure that Tracy and Ben had a lot of questions for you. What can you share with you about some of the questions they had for you, and what were some of your answers to those questions that I'm sure were very pressing?
Yeah, I think that, how successful the program has been. I think Dr. Burnett, Tracy English, everyone in the athletics department was interested in how we're going to continue that success and how we're going to, in the transition, make sure that the program doesn't fall off and that it continues to be successful. And I think for me, it was all about, getting in front of the girls, getting in front of the team and providing that vision, continuing to set the high standards that they've already been accustomed to. Obviously, recruiting is going to be big. I think for me, the program has been so successful that it doesn't need a ton of change. I'm not the person that's going to come in and say, well, I need to do this differently, I need to do that differently. I think just continuing what's already been done and not reinventing the wheel is going to be important. But I feel like I've had a lot of experience in recruiting in the different pools that are out there. I know that the program has been very diverse over the years, and I think that's something that definitely needs to be continued because there's some quality athletes to help us be successful. I think there's also a lot of domestic talent that, through being at Southeastern Louisiana, I think I've really got a pulse on those recruiting areas as well in the domestic scene. And also, having those connections within Division I as well. So if there are any athletes that are looking to move on from the level, then, we can provide them a home. And so I think having, my fingers in many pies recruiting-wise is definitely a plus. And I think as far as the infrastructure of the program, the athletics department, I don't think that I need to go in. I think it'd be a big mistake for me to come in and think that I could change everything and make it better because it's already been so great already.
What does the next month look like for you as you've taken this position and now you're trying to take roots here in Hattiesburg?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, with obviously we have our NAIA rules that we have to abide by, and so we've kind of just started practicing again and getting the balls out there. But it's really a lot of development. The spring for us is a lot of growth, a lot of development without the pressures of, the season and a record that you have to be so worried about. And so the spring is a lot of the basics, a lot of kind of building back up towards the end of the spring where we're going to end up, we're going to get to play some spring games, and we've already got some good teams lined up to play. And so, I think this next month is really about stabilization for the program. For me, it's been important to meet with everyone individually in the program to just introduce myself, get to know them a little bit better. And so a lot of the practices and a lot of the things we do throughout this next month will be very foundational. A lot of them getting to know me, even as far as my coaching style, my coaching philosophy. These are all things that I think are important to implement and not being too much of a rush to have the finished article ready to go. I think we can build up to that. I think it's important to just really get to know each other within the program so that we've got a great foundation to build off of later in the spring, and then also kind of going into the fall.
Coach, we got about 30 seconds left, so I'll give you this moment to say, what are you most excited about as you embark on this journey at Cary?
I think, it's a great campus. I think it's exciting to have the opportunity to be in a program where we can make the community proud, we can make the school proud, and hopefully we can continue the success of the previous coaching staff.
Well, Coach, it's been a nice legacy they've had for a while, several conference championships over the last several years, a lot of streaks. In fact, a continuing, I don't know if you know about this one or not, but a home streak that spans several years of winning at William Carey University. So you got a lot to live up to, but we're excited for you and the journey ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate all the help and all the kind words.
Thank you very much for joining us. That is Jack Hartley, new women's head soccer coach at William Carey University. Looking forward to the coming season in next fall for him and all the ladies that will be out there at campus, because, like we said, big legacy to live up to. A guy whose name is literally on the field. You have to look at it every time you go out there to practice and get ready for a game. But we're excited for Coach Hartley and company. More to come as we continue on Crusader Talk. Stay with us.
Talking everything William Carey University athletics. This is Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
Well, overdue. Should have had that done last week, as a big introductory day, but a big day last week. First day on the job. I'd hate to add to Coach Hartley's plate of things to do on a Monday.
But if it's overdue, doesn't that mean it's just building anticipation?
We'll go with that.
Because we're supposed to have Coach Hogue on tonight. And Coach Hogue's busy. She's got kiddos playing ball.
That's right.
She's got to be mama, too.
Oh,
so we'll get Coach Hogue.
Lucky for her, she gets to double dip and watch her daughter play while she's coaching her as well.
She had a lot of fun. That was a text I got. She said, Josh, I had so much fun last weekend. I said, Coach, you're right where you belong.
That's right.
You are right where you belong. Yeah, I called this. I said it's going to be a fun year in softball, and I stand by it through this first weekend of the season. I think the best is yet to come. There's just an energy with her coaching William Carey softball that is unmatched.
Yeah. So before we jump into all that, and we also have basketball to recap as well, let's kind of break down what we just heard from Coach Hartley. This is a guy that has some experience, but oddly enough, when you're at this level at the NAIA, you really don't have much to go off of until you're truly in the chair that is head coach at William Carey. And what I mean by that is pedigree is basically earned for many folks at this level. And you heard from Coach Hartley. He was able to, have some head coaching experience at some smaller universities up north on some startup projects. Had to go through COVID with one of those stints. Had to be basically a startup program at another. And so if you ever to go back and look at some of the win-loss records, you would be aghast perhaps at that's the record this guy has, and he's coming to coach at William Carey. Not the full story. Again, not to make excuses because of the COVID and other things, but at the same time, none of those universities are William Carey. None of them have the dedicated resources of an athletic program like Carey has. And if you've been around any program at the university for the last couple of years, you know that the dollars and the effort and the eyes are all going towards athletics right now when it comes to this university in Hattiesburg.
Well, and I'm just thinking about Nick Saban losing to Louisiana Monroe his first year at Alabama.
Ooh, that's a good comparison.
So, I mean, again, when you're coming in your first year and you're having to turn things around and implement your system, I'm not saying that he's going to struggle like that in his first year. He's inheriting in a completely different situation. The program was left in a tremendously good place, but you're going to have some roster turnover. One of the things we ran out of time to talk about with him, a couple of things that for me, one of which is that, one of your first primary responsibilities, it's essentially like he's got a massive elite camp running this spring to re-recruit the players that are there.
Yeah.
He's got to sell them on his vision this spring so that more don't jump to transfer. And that's not that there's going to be anything bad about what he's doing. It's just sometimes different is not what the player wanted. The player came to play for Danny. Danny doesn't have a spot for them currently, and so they just want different again. They want to start over and make a choice, maybe not have a choice made for them. So he's got to sell them that this is their choice. And then I was talking to you in the break there, Caleb, and I'm going to get your thoughts on this. Imagine walking into that meeting, and essentially, to a little bit lesser degree, I think about the John Woodens, the Dean Smiths, the Pat Summits, the Nick Sabans of that type of a almost legendary status. You know, they've got a court or a facility or a workout. Something's already named for them. They've already are being honored as they're doing what they're doing at such a massive level. And these numbers, you know, right now, Carey currently leads the NAI in all-time wins, has won 6 straight tournament championships, along with 6 of the last 7 regular season championships, have made the national tournament the last 14 years, including winning the national championship in 2018. So that is elite on a whole nother level. So, I mean, that's why I'm making comparisons to Tennessee or UConn's women's basketball team, UCLA under Wooden, Alabama under Saban, and so forth. That's what Coach Owens did. And so you have to be a DeBoer that's going to come in. And DeBoer, I think, is a fine coach at Alabama. He's just different, and sometimes some people don't do well with different. I think he's a great coach. But he's got to get his roster of guys that are used to his way in his system. And Alabama's still really, really good. I don't know if Saban coached in a different world. Will we ever see that type of a run again? Because of basically unlimited free agency and massive payrolls. 2 completely different sports, 2 completely different things. So my question to you is, though, what do you say in that first meeting? I think you heard a man who is humbled, honored, appreciative. It might be still a little surreal to him, this opportunity.
He's been on the job for a week.
And it's just surreal. Like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. To do everything I could ever possibly want to do at this level, to then, if I'm great at this level, and then the opportunity to do something else someday down the road presents itself, who knows? You cross that bridge when you get to it, but you have an opportunity to do everything you ever dreamed of in coaching right here at Carey.
Yeah. So the next steps obviously are going to be trying to recruit the roster, your current roster, because this is a unique circumstance. Think about it this way. If Coach Owens had taken a job, say, at the University of Kentucky, miles and miles away, but an upper-tier school in the Division I ranks, how many roster pieces from William Carey does he bring with him all the way up there?
Maybe 1.
Yeah. Part of that is all dependent on, the kind of level that he can recruit to a school like that. But also, it's not like it's, completely uprooting somebody to go 1,000 miles across country when you take a job that's 10 minutes down the road from where you were previously. It's such an easy uproot for so many of these people that were on his roster at Carey that are also good fits at Southern Miss. And so the recruiting pitch was not as difficult of one compared to a long-haul type trip. So I say all that to say I'm not encouraging those that were on the roster to leave. I'm saying that it is a very tough job for Coach Hartley to recruit his roster to stay if there's competition with Southern Miss and Coach Danny Owens and all the pieces that he's going to have over there. Now, that said, it's a big task, but he's the man up for it. And this was a really pressure-filled, I would say, hire for Coach Tracy English, because not only was it big shoes to fill, a bit of a dynasty that Coach Owens left behind, but also because of what I just said about the recruiting players away and all the resources that he takes with him, speed was a little bit of the name of the game as well, because the more you waited on a hire, the more opportunities for uncertainty, for what roster you have, which is a really good roster. coming out of last year. And so you just, with the gap in time, we're just leaving more to figure out. Now all of a sudden, the coach is here. He's building the relationships. He's recruiting the room, as you would say. He's trying to keep girls out of going into the transfer portal, per se, and really trying to keep things where they are and right the ship in a continuous forward direction.
Yeah, I don't think I've allowed myself really to just think deeply on it until tonight, until I heard from the man himself, and until I've sat here and thought about it. And, this is a hire that more than likely, to try to keep it rolling, so to speak, seems like a virtual impossibility. You have to, I think, to some degree, have the mindset that he had at some of these new starts, these new programs, because either you rebuild it almost starting over under Jack's leadership, or if not, the person that comes in after Jack has to rebuild it completely after Jack.
Yeah.
So for Jack to not put too much pressure on himself, here's somebody who is obviously very capable, because he goes through the interview process and wins the interview with two very capable people in Tracy English and Ben Burnett that are tremendously talented and capable leaders. You got to make it your own, and don't try to be in the Danny Owen shadow.
To a different degree, I'm going to compare this to something that's a little closer to me. Mississippi State baseball comes off a national championship in 2021. They struggled the year right after, but they have been consistently getting back to the NCAA tournament since then. So a step below what they know they can achieve from a history standpoint, but trying to make that climb out of it. Different situation because that coach was fired and a new one was hired. But the guy that won a national championship is no longer the coach, and you're the next guy up. So William Carey, the guy that won the national championship in 2018, is out. You're the next guy up. And you're inheriting a program that had a lot of talent and some success, and still you're in the wake of, 6 or 7 conference tournament championships in a row?
Yep, both.
That's a very unique circumstance to inherit. Completely different from any other job that he's taken to this point.
Dream job, yet equally as intimidating.
Yeah. So when we come back, we'll switch gears, get out of soccer, and talk about what's been happening over the last week. Baseball, softball, basketball, you name it. Swimming went to the Sun Conference Championships. We'll recap all that as we continue on Crusader Talk.
You're tuned in to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
No, 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 no.
Oh, let it ride. Come on.
Feels a little like Sandlot.
Well, it's appropriate to think about baseball and softball with this because over the past weekend, I've never seen this before. 2 no-hitters, one from baseball and one from softball in the same weekend. A combined no-hitter for baseball on Friday night against Campbellsville, and then Ryan Hornsby is able to do it in their weekend set as well. Just really cool. Really cool indeed. So that song just kind of came to mind. I thought we'd have the no-no
very appropriate
for a no-hitter. But I tell you, I really did not expect that. And that's to say that I've seen – this is crazy to think. I've experienced 4 different no-hitters at William Carey since I've started broadcasting here, which is crazy. One was Haley Nations against Stillman a couple years ago. One was a combined no-hitter in baseball that we didn't even realize was a no-hitter until afterward because it was a 2-1 victory, like a fight to the bitter end. But just so many walks and maybe a sacrifice fly, you got the run home there. But then Corey Cook last year against John Melvin, a startup team. But this one was against Campbellsville, a team that Carey has faced for season upon season, and a very veteran coach in Buford Sanders, I should say, which, by the way, hope Coach Sanders is on the mend right now. I heard that he had a slip and fell prior to the season beginning, and he was unable to make the trip down here. So hope he's on the mend for Campbellsville and company. But, yeah, you come out after game one and you dominate fairly well against Columbia International after maybe some slight struggles from the pitching side, but you come out and the hitting makes up the difference. And then when it came down to the game against Campbellsville, it just started off that game, gave up several walks. That's the thing. A lot of walks in the game that evening, but when all is said and done, they never gave up the hit to drive them in. Back-to-back, Campbellsville would just leave guys stranded on base, and they find a way. So the combination of Everett Thompson, the starter, who pitched 4 innings, he walked 5 but struck out 7. Jackson Hawsey, and then Jimmy Johnson. Love that name for a baseball player. But they combined for the no-hitter and a shutout of Campbellsville 6-0 on Friday night, as Cary was 2-0 heading into Saturday before falling to Columbia International. Falling to Campbellsville. They did not play Columbia International on Saturday. But an all-around decent weekend for Cary. I just got off to a rough start pitching-wise in that last game, but after the second inning, righted the ship, and we're good the rest of the way. So just a matter of figuring out that rotation, getting the right guys out there. They have a good experiment ahead of them with playing Mississippi College tomorrow afternoon, I should say. It's a 2 o'clock start. So they'll be over there in Clinton to play that one, and we look forward to seeing how they perform.
Well, good to see baseball back playing well. And I know, Caleb, for you, it's, just seeing how all these pieces fit, knowing that it's a little bit of a chess match early to get all the pieces in the right spot. And then, shifting gears to softball, the thing that jumps off the page to me, and I think anybody that's followed softball in the last couple of years, in a Cary offense that has struggled to score and score consistently, to go out and have a 380 batting average through the first weekend, and for, how about this, Kinley Hogue to be leading the team in batting average through the first 4 games. Mama's back.
That's it, baby.
And Mom has been able to diagnose something. Now, look, let's take nothing away from Kinley. Kinley has put in the work. She's put in the hours. The comfort level is there. And so many times it's just that comfort level. Sometimes you can just be pressing, and it just takes a different set of eyes. It just takes a different mindset, a new year, fresh start. Obviously, the last time these two were together, they won a championship. Think about that.
Yeah.
Last time they teamed up, they won a championship. So they're saying that in their mind. Hey, the band's back together. Let's go win another championship. 9 hits and 16 ABs, couple of doubles, a triple, slugging in at .813. She drives in 4 runs, and Cary goes 4-0. Huge.
Yeah, really impressive start, and I'm with you. I think that's one of the most impressive parts of it is just the uptick in performance from Kinley from last year to this year. I know, small sample size, lots still to play with. I thought as well the fact that Ryan Hornsby, after she had some struggles last year from the circle, never really heard much about what was different and maybe what's changed in the offseason, but to come out strong, help pitch through what ended up being a 5-inning performance on Friday against A&M Victoria, but still, nevertheless, an outing in which Cary was able to run rule Victoria through just 5 innings, scoring 10 in the 5th inning.
Speaking of 10, Kinley Hogue had 10 hits last year. She had 9 this weekend. So I know it's a small sample size.
A big impact.
Okay. So her batting average was 164. She was splitting time in the field. She was an every other game player. Mm-hmm. She only had 61 at-bats in the entire season. She had 16 in the opening weekend. So, things have done a complete, can we just say it? It's a 180 through one weekend.
It is.
A complete 180. Couldn't happen to a better kid and a better family. And I think that, again, you can take some of the symmetry of that and some of that positive mojo. If I'm saying it and I'm thinking it, then there's other players that are going, the last time Kinley and her mom were together, they won a championship. The whole team knows that. Everybody knows that. softball fans all over South Mississippi know that. Cary softball fans know that. Wendy knows that. Kinley knows that. Everybody knows that. It's fantastic. And then to see that Ryan Hornsby, who's got so much experience, could be the second or third arm in that rotation speaks to the depth of that rotation. And it's good to see Julia Shaw.
Yes.
Who is extremely capable. If she's healthy all year, she hit 420 last year. She led the team in batting average a year ago. If she's getting it done inside the circle as well, that's huge. And you were able to, like you said, it felt great to be back out watching baseball. I get to get that same opening day feeling, so to speak, for me Friday, as I'll be back out with softball on Friday. So I can't wait.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we talk all the time about how much defense wins championships. I feel impressed by how well Cary was defensive from a baseball and, frankly, softball standpoint as well through their games so far. If you want to break it down, I don't think Cary had but maybe one error on the weekend, and I'll double-check and see if I can't find it. Yeah, through 3 games, just one error, and that was, I believe, just a high throw to second base by Jaden Mark, just trying to catch a runner in a stolen base situation. Or actually, take that back. But it was a stolen base in which Cary was trying to get a rundown working and just overthrew a ball. So nothing on a ball hit into play, no bad breaks from a third baseman or shortstop, nothing like that. So to see that is highly encouraging. And then from a softball standpoint, believe they had a decent weekend in the field as well.
Just one. Kinley, who was error played in recent years, had just the one, but she had 10 assists. She had 3 putouts.
So when you play shortstop, that happens. She had 22 a couple seasons ago.
That's right. And again, if you're putting up those type of batting numbers, 563, I mean, your productivity and everything else you're doing is so far outweighing
that
one
atones
mistake.
For the errors.
One error every 4th game or something along those lines.
Right.
I mean, that is okay. The big thing is I think that I hope this weekend allows her not to overthink it anymore. You're going to have a bad game. You're going to have a game where you go 0 for at the plate. That's especially in softball. Scoring is such a premium. But, if this weekend did anything, it proved to her, and it proved to her teammates, that she can do this. I can't imagine the amount of self-doubt that she tamped down and prayed through and had faith to get through. Strong faith family, incredible young lady that is grounded in her faith. She's just kept on pushing, kept on believing, kept on pushing, kept on, putting in the work. Student athlete. I always would see her studying in the stands at a baseball game or something like that. So, I mean, it's just, these are the stories. This is a perfect example of what makes Cary Athletics special, is this type of a student athlete. And to see this type of performance in the type of person she is. Man, I love it.
Yeah. So coming up for softball, it's going to be a doubleheader against Stillman on Friday. And if Saturday is not a wash, there'll be a doubleheader against Xavier at 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock there at Joseph and Nancy Fail Field.
Do you foresee a situation where we get a little bit further in the week and that goes to, say, a 10 and 12? Could you see baseball maybe slide up a little bit? Could you envision that? Because I saw an initial forecast that said PM showers and AM showers Sunday. Could you maybe see moved up start times?
It's possible. You are going to have a doubleheader of baseball on Saturday. At least that's how it's scheduled right now. So it's a matter of how do they want to shuffle it around or move it up? Because currently it's set for a 12 o'clock and 3:30 start on the 2 games, which I believe are.
You might have to have 10 and 1:30 to get it in, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if they're going to try to play 7s or what's the idea there. It's a little bit odd of a schedule because you're not playing, 3 games Friday, 3 games Saturday. Missouri Baptist is coming in early on Thursday afternoon to play at 4 o'clock. Then Friday is going to be the day of having 3 games, and then Saturday's just 2. So you're already kind of front-loading the round-robin schedule already. You could start at 11 and try to speed it up, but I'm not sure there. But we'll see. I never like people making judgments of the weather prior to at least 48 hours before.
Sure.
Because weather changes like that.
But you would say it would be a good thing to be prepared for maybe having breakfast at Cary.
Yeah. Sure.
Brunch.
Because there's no way, unless IU Kokomo gets there a day earlier, is the schedule going to change. Because you can't have more than 3 games on Friday. Just can't.
Right.
Man, we're already running out of time. We've got one segment left, and we still have to talk about basketball.
And swimming.
Yeah. Got that coming up for you. Hey, women's basketball winning again. Men's basketball winning even more now. But women's basketball doing it without one of their star players right now. Without 2 of them.
In the last game.
Yeah, in the most recent game. So Josh will kind of break that down for us when we come back in the short segment and the final segment for us here on Crusader Talk. Stay tuned as we talk everything William Carey Athletics here with you on this Monday.
You're listening to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
All right, quickly, men's and women's basketball before we run out of time here. Wins over the weekend, women doing it a little gimpy.
Yeah, no Chanel Corpus, out with the knee injury. She hopefully will be back Thursday. They're going to get her a new brace for that ailing left knee, but she's going to be, barring no further setbacks, be able to play out this season. Then Maddie Ladner gets teed up for leaving the bench on Thursday, gets a 1-game suspension. There was a kind of a wild elbow. She reacted. She went onto the floor. She gets a 1-game suspension. So Cary just goes out and wins 94-45 without their top 2 scorers and top 2 rebounders. That'll do.
Yeah. That passes.
Yeah, it does. Bailey Duvall, first ever double-double of her Cary career, 13 points, career-high 11 rebounds. Aaliyah Sutton steps right back into the starting lineup, 14 points, 8 assists, season high there, 6 rebounds. And then you also had 3 more players in double figures, Garriga, Scheer, and Brooklyn Cuevas hit a couple more threes. And so now 20-2 for the ladies, 11-2 in the league.
You were telling us during the break, what's the combined record of the 2 teams right now?
Combined record of the 2 teams, 42-4.
That's insane.
That's some UConn stuff. What are you talking about?
That is crazy. Very interesting thing, and I didn't know that the NAIA had started putting this out, and I'm really curious if this is a just a partnership with some of the different pundit groups out there. I know there was a big NAIA Hoops Report type account that would put out stuff like this, but
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so they've kind of partnered in publicizing this, but there is a bracketology breakdown of where everybody would end up right now if the season ended today.
And we're looking at men's basketball bracketology now.
Yes. Right now they've got William Carey set as a 2 seed.
That'll do.
Yeah. They would be the top seed in their bracket, facing off against 15 seed Tougaloo. And then on the other side, waiting for the winner of that game would be the winner of Texas Wesleyan and Southeastern out of Florida. So I don't hate that matchup early on, man. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a winnable opening game. And then if you can settle in a little bit, that's a winning opening bracket to get to the final site. So I'm all in for that. Yeah. Sign me up.
But still miles to go before we sleep. Got games left on the schedule. Faulkner coming up on, was it Thursday? I'm trying to get the schedule.
You've got Faulkner on Thursday, then Mobile on Saturday. And Faulkner, the matchup with Faulkner and Cary, that is a 12-2 Cary team in the league, 22-2, 12-2, against a Faulkner team that is 12-3 in conference. And if you caught any of Coach Knight's interview late, in the broadcast on Saturday, you heard him talking about Faulkner's been the best team in the league for the last 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So we are going to, the hottest team in the league on their home floor. They'll have a ranked number 19 Cary team coming to their place, and they're looking for revenge, right? So the very thing that Cary went and did to Loyola, Faulkner is going to try to do to Cary on Thursday night. So Cary's going to have to be on upset alert for both of those games. But What's amazing about this team, I think I gave you this stat earlier, and if I didn't give it to you, I gave it to Clayton. Carey was in a 1-point game, down by 1, 52-51, used a 22-4 run, and Carey in the second half of the game finished 23 of 27 inside the arc. They missed 9 threes. They still shot 65% for the half, but they were 23 of 27 from inside the arc. Now that's a lot of layups rather, and a lot of dunks, yes, but it's also a lot of fadeaways, mid-range jumpers. Just an extremely, extremely talented team, and it's another one of those games where Troy Dunn and Malik Franklin and Arzika Sibu, young man out of Benton, Baton Rouge Community College transfer, that trio off the bench combined for 59 points. The bench almost outscored the starters 2-1. And so Carey, on a somewhat of an off day, a little bit of a lackadaisical day, scored 99. They've scored 100-plus in 4 games. So they're 6th in the country at scoring at better than 92 points per game. Continue to lead the country in steals, continue number 2 in the country in turnovers, forced at better than right at 21 a game. So, I mean, this is a legit good team, very undersized. They have to make teams play their up-tempo brand of basketball. But if they speed them up, and if they do, and they make teams chase them, we have to make shots. That is a given.
Right.
But, I mean, this is a legit talented Carey team. Kudos to PJ and Coach Knight and Coach Burt for putting together this group, because they put together a collection of young men that like each other, that are winners, that play hard for the coaching staff and love Carey, and they are worth the price of admission.
So big matchup Thursday against Faulkner, both of the men and women. Then they travel to Mobile for Saturday. So 2-game road swing. Mobile losing record in conference in both men and women, but can't let that get in your head and let it trip you up down the road. Followed by the last 2 home games of the season, UT Southern on Thursday, February 19th, and then February 21st on that Saturday. Could be a chance to be regular season title holders, especially for the men. Yeah,
and on the women's side, Tennessee Southern is number 8 in the RPI.
Yep.
Women are 17 in the RPI. Loyola's 10. And it's a very top-heavy league in the women. The women, Faulkner women are like top 30 in the RPI. So Carey ladies have still a tough stretch of basketball. Both teams have a tough stretch.
Yep. Well, kind of ran out of time for the details on it, but William Carey swim team, they earned 4th place at the Sun Conference Championships. Again, play in the Sun for some of the auxiliary sports that aren't covered by the SSAC, but congratulations to Coach Gonzalez and company for achieving 4th in that. And I look forward to seeing what they can continue to do down the road. Well, that does it for this edition of Crusader Talk. Our thanks to Jack Hartley, new women's soccer coach, for joining us earlier. For Dalton Stanford, my co-host Josh West, I'm Caleb Hamill saying until next time, good night, God bless, and go Saders.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.